Have you ever had a dream so real it felt prophetic? Like impending doom prophetic? Curtis LaForche does. In the chilling 2011 psychological thriller, Take Shelter, a loving husband and father is haunted by apocalyptic visions. Is he preparing for a real storm, or is the real threat coming from within? Let's dig into Take Shelter in today's movie recap. Curtis awoke with a jolt, the lingering taste of motor oil rain heavy on his tongue. It was just a dream, a terrifying one that left him confused and shaken. Outside, the sun peeked through the curtains, glowing warmly on his bedroom. Relief washed over him as he realized it was a beautiful day. He joined Samantha and Hannah for breakfast. The aroma of pancakes filled the air, a welcome contrast to the oily dream. Hannah, his deaf daughter, chattered excitedly in sign language, oblivious to the storm raging within Curtis. Samantha, the picture of the perfect housewife, was also a talented seamstress, preparing her creations for the upcoming fair. Later that afternoon, Samantha entertained their friends' children while Curtis battled the elements at work. A sudden downpour forced a halt in construction. He found solace and camaraderie with his co-workers at the local bar. As the rain subsided, Curtis dropped off his friend Duarte, a confidant who envied his seemingly perfect life. But Curtis confessed, hinting at a darkness beneath the surface. Duarte's wife abruptly ended their conversation, her body language radiating a silent demand for him to go inside. Back home, a sense of unease lingered. Samantha confessed her anxieties about Hannah's difficulty connecting with other children. The next day, a heavy weight settled on Curtis's chest as he cleared debris, a precaution against his daughter's curious hands. Just then, a storm erupted. A loud crack of lightning sent their dog, Red, into a frenzy. As Curtis reached for Hannah, Red, in a terrifying turn of events, lunged at Curtis, its teeth sinking into his arm. He jolted awake, gasping for breath. It was another nightmare, a vivid one that mirrored the anxieties gnawing at him. At breakfast, the lingering fear was palpable. He nervously watched Hannah playing with Red, the memory of the dream fresh in his mind. When Samantha questioned his behavior, his frustrations boiled over, causing him to leave without breakfast abruptly. Work became a battleground of worry. His thoughts fixated on the dream bite, making him constantly check his arm. The sight needed to catch up due to the rain, adding to his stress. Curtis felt adrift, his mind far from the task at hand. Later, a swarm of black birds flying in an unsettling pattern added another layer to his anxieties. The extra hours at work, they led him to miss Hannah's parent-teacher conference. Covered in mud, he walked into a room focused on essential sign language, something he desperately needed to learn, given his lack of time with Hannah. The rain, a persistent metaphor for his inner turmoil, had started again as he rushed to pick up his daughter. Curtis's seemingly idyllic life masked a storm brewing within. His anxieties about work, his daughter, and his relationship gnawed at him. As the story unfolds, we can anticipate a deeper exploration of these anxieties and how Curtis will navigate this internal tempest. Curtis jolted awake, a scream catching in his throat. Rain lashed against the window, mimicking the downpour in his nightmare. His head throbbed, a phantom echo of the car crash. Relief washed over him as he saw Samantha sleeping soundly beside him. Downstairs, he found Samantha fretting over his pale face. He brushed it off as a cold, sending her to the fair with a worried Hannah. Alone, Curtis wrestled with a growing sense of unease. He secured extra supplies from work and built a makeshift barricade around the doghouse, much to Red's confusion. Drawn by a forgotten storm shelter door, he unearthed the key and descended into the damp darkness. An idea, both terrifying and exhilarating, sparked in his mind. Later, Samantha counted the day's earnings from the fair, her smile faltering at the sight of the caged Red. Curtis offered a vague explanation, his eyes glued to the news report of a gas leak affecting a family. The next day, a fleeting glimpse of a man outside sent Curtis scrambling with Hannah, barricading themselves as the house shuddered. Objects flew, and Curtis gasped for air before everything crashed down. He awoke drenched in sweat, his heart pounding. Shame burned in his gut as he hid the wet sheets from a concerned Samantha. He brushed her off, insisting on caring for Hannah while she attended church. At the library, Curtis buried himself in books on mental health, while Hannah browsed children's stories. On their way back, he stocked up on canned food, causing them to miss lunch with Hannah's family. He devoured the library books in the shelter, surrounded by provisions, a cold resolve hardening in his eyes. The doctor dismissed his sleep issues initially, but Curtis persisted, revealing his nightmares, the bedwetting incident, and a lingering pain from the dog bite. The doctor prescribed medication and a referral to a psychiatrist. Meanwhile, Samantha secured approval for Hannah's hearing surgery, and their insurance plan covered the cost. Relief, tinged with worry, settled on Curtis. The nightmares continued to plague him, but now there was a glimmer of hope alongside the fear. Curtis gets a surprise at the pharmacy. His medication is affordable thanks to insurance. He celebrates with his family, but hides his illness. Samantha dreams of vacations with their newfound savings, while Curtis secretly takes medicine. The next day, Curtis feels good, but at work, he experiences a terrifying hallucination of thunder in a clear sky. Panicked, he throws up and struggles to breathe while driving. Regaining control, he visits a container store, then his heavily medicated mother, who reveals her schizophrenia diagnosis at Curtis's current age. Worried, Curtis contacts his doctor and arranges local counseling. He opens up about his mother's abandonment and disturbing dreams. Meanwhile, his hallucinations worsen, prompting him to take out a secret loan and start building a bunker at the shelter with his friend Dewart's help. Samantha is horrified by the bunker and Curtis's erratic behavior, including locking up their dog. An argument erupts, revealing the loan and his refusal to explain himself. Upset and desperate, Curtis overdoses on his medication. Samantha finds him seizing and calls an ambulance. Finally, Curtis confesses his illness and fear of repeating his mother's fate. They take Hannah to the hospital for her surgery, and Curtis asks to be removed from Dewart's work crew. Despite warnings from his boss, Curtis remains fixated on the perceived threat and buys expensive gas masks. Samantha bites her lip as Mrs. Dewart whispers rumors about Curtis's strange behavior. Defensively, Samantha insists everything is fine at home. Meanwhile, Curtis wrestles with guilt at the animal shelter as his brother Kyle arrives, concerned about the rumors. Their awkward reunion reveals deep-seated tension. Before Kyle leaves, Curtis impulsively asks him to care for Red, their dog. A chilling dream of a stormy night and a threatening Samantha shakes Curtis. At breakfast, his flinch at Samantha's touch creates new tension. The news worsens as Jim arrives, forced to fire Curtis for illegally borrowing equipment. This domino effect means unpaid leave for Dewart as well. Back home, the weight of the situation crashes upon them. Samantha's frustration explodes into a slap before she storms out. Defeated, Curtis seeks solace at the therapist's office, only to find his counselor gone. Frustrated by the starting over suggestion, he leaves the program. Desperate, Samantha takes on extra sewing jobs to make ends meet. Curtis reaches out, explaining his dream and trying to reassure her. Forced to make tough choices, Samantha postpones Hannah's surgery and cancels the beach trip. They agree to focus on finding work, with the condition that Curtis see a psychiatrist and attempt to heal their isolation. At a school dinner, tensions rise as Dewart blames Curtis for his suspension. A heated argument erupts, culminating in Curtis's breakdown and a terrifying vision of a devastating storm. Samantha scoops up a distraught Curtis and rushes him home. Another nightmare, this time of falling birds, jolts Curtis awake. The real-life storm siren sends them scurrying to the shelter. Curtis remains convinced the storm rages on as days turn into a tense night. Finally, Samantha confronts him, refusing to perpetuate his fear. Gathering his courage, Curtis opens the door to a bright, sunny day. The storm has passed. Life slowly returns to normal. However, the trauma lingers. Curtis begins treatment with a new psychiatrist, who recommends a temporary stay at a specialized facility. Their family vacation turns dark as a new, ominous storm approaches. This time, Samantha sees it too. If you enjoyed this recap of Take Shelter, leave a thumbs up in the comments below and let me know what you thought of the movie. For more movie recaps and fun content, subscribe to my channel. Hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell so you never miss a video.